Welcome back. We're talking with Bassam Abu Sharif, the former confidant and advisor to the late Palestinian leader Yasser Arafat. You were described as the Minister of Propaganda for the Popular Front for the Liberation of Palestine, and you also had to recruit people who were like-minded, who were willing to take radical action, like Carlos the Jackal. How did you find these people, and how did you convince them to join you?
In fact, I didn't look for them to convince them to join us. In fact, they came over very enthusiastic to join us. Carlos was a different case. At that time, I was also in charge as the Minister of Propaganda of special training camps for foreigners. And Carlos was sent to one of these camps. And usually they stay there for 2 months. At the end of the 2 months, we train them how to use light arms, but basically political education about Palestine. And we do what we call at the end a vaccination test. A vaccination test is an attack with live fire on the camp itself. And they'll have to defend themselves, run away, hide, do this and that. So we started shelling the camp on the sides, of course, outskirts and that. And I saw Carlos putting one leg after on the other and smoking a cigarette, lying down there. I said, "What the hell are you doing here?" He said, "You know, it's a big joke." I said, "What is a big joke?" He said, "This attack. Come on, this is a game for kids, not for me."
Tell me.
So I said, pack your things. And I sent him to the real training camp.
The violence came back to you in 1972 when you were sent a bomb in a book. Tell me what happened.
That day, the 25th of July, I woke up contrary to my habit early, because at that time I developed the habit of staying all night, going around from cafe to dancing place to this to that, in order to not to stay in one place for the Israelis to catch me or to pin me down or whatever. And I used to sleep at daytime. At that day, I couldn't sleep, so I went to the office early, and as if a force was pushing me. To cut it short, I stayed for 1.5 hours reading newspapers until the postman came with the bags of our mail, which was huge every day. So the guy told me, "You have a book sent by mail to you," and so on. So I went there to see what kind of book. Big book, thick book. What do you do when you receive a new book? You try to see the contents. You try to flip few pages just to... when I did that, I realized what it was. It's only part of a second. I tried to draw back. That's why this side was not hurt as much as this side. And that's why my fingers, with which I tried to, were cut. And I lost this eye. That was open, broken jaws, all this part, because I tried to move away. And I didn't lose consciousness, but it was dark. I realized I lost sight and holding the ground, because it had thrown me very far and broken all the tables, and until now I have a broken back. I felt my way on the wall. Afterwards they showed me the photographs, my blood dripping. But so far I didn't have pain, until I got to the door where there was a current of air. The moment the current hit me, there was unbearable pain. And more than that, I could feel what's happening. My eye dangling on my cheek with a thread-like thing. My fingers are still hanging, feeling the blood like shower coming down. This was 15 centimeters by 3, a ditch. Also another ditch here. All my body was injured, and but my mind was still working. Only one thing I didn't realize, that I lost hearing too. And so I moved as quickly as possible, holding the walls, trying to get out of the office. Whether there is a second bomb or they're coming to take me, or I have to get out. This is what I had in my mind. And in the middle of the corridor, I felt two hands holding my shoulders, strong grips. And I said, "Who you are? Who are you?" No answer. I didn't realize I lost hearing, and I thought, it's them. I started fighting them. Then I felt taking me downstairs, out of the door, throwing me in the back seat of a car. Then I started drowning in my own blood. Couldn't breathe. Air. I needed air. The last thing I felt, masks, something in my mouth. And I went away to wake up 8 days later. For me, that was enough reason to hate. But I never hated them more after the operation, after the accident, than before. I still hate them for being occupiers, for committing atrocities against my people, for making our people never enjoy freedom, feel as human beings, and dignified as human beings. This is why I hate them. Besides that, I have no reason to hate.
Now, let me ask you, when you look at your relationship with Yasser Arafat, you were very close. What was the easiest and what was the most difficult thing about being so close to Yasser Arafat?
It's all tiresome and difficult. There is nothing that is easy with Arafat. I used to work as much as he does, plus whatever I had to do in addition to that. He had nothing else to do but his work and then go to sleep. I had other things to do besides that. I was married, I had kids, and I had things to write for myself, and he had never to do that. But I had to do as much as he did when he's working. And I had to live his life the way he lived, and it was a life of austerity, a monk's life. When he died, I was left alone. I never had a salary, never ever. Never had a budget, never ever. And all of a sudden, I found myself alone, and the new president didn't like me around for my close relationship to Arafat. So I was left on the pavement, not able to pay my rent, not able to live, and I had to resort to my family again after quitting my family for half a century. Anyway, with Arafat, I benefited a lot. Vision, in one way or the other. We exchanged that. Dialectics, we exchanged it. He was a man who's really sympathetic, charismatic, cruel, harsh when he needs to be, generous when he needs to be, very stingy when he wants to be. Arafat, at the end, one can summarize him by saying, for Arafat, he was Palestine.
How do you want to be remembered? What do you want your legacy to be?
You know, sometimes people who are free do not realize what is the meaning or the taste of freedom. Slavery was never and will never be a choice for me or my people. We will fight for freedom no matter what. I have 37 wounds in my body. I'm ready to have 37 more or die for a noble cause. It's much better than to live indignated.
Bassam Abu Sharif, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.